Hi, I am Verdaillia Turner, and this is Let's Talk. Today we have with us the notable Dr. Morcease Beasley. He is superintendent of our fifth largest school district in Georgia, Clayton County. And he holds one of the distinctions that many urban school district superintendents do not hold. In today's world, he's been there 5 long years, and we hope we can keep him another 10. Well, that said, Dr. Beasley, let's talk.
Hello, Ms. Turner. Thank you for inviting me. Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you here. We want you to tell the public, what is it like being a superintendent on a day-to-day basis?
Well, that's a loaded question, Ms. Turner. And years ago, I never dreamed that I would be a superintendent. I started out in education as a substitute teacher, as a matter of fact. When I finished my undergraduate degree, I was going into banking. As a matter of fact, the president of a savings and loan wanted me to be a manager of one of his branches. But the year I graduated, the banking institution dissolved, and I decided, let me go and figure out what I need to do with this degree in math. My high school principal encouraged me to consider teaching. I decided to earn a master's degree in math education. And by the time I finished, there was a position open at the high school that I graduated from. I started teaching high school math almost 28 years ago. And from there, I've just enjoyed education from being a high school math teacher, an assistant principal, a principal of 4 high schools. I was a high school principal at the age of 28. And I've led 4 high schools, became a deputy superintendent. As you know, I spent some time in Texas and DeKalb as a deputy and came to Clayton County a few years ago, loved it, and I'm having a ball. It's a lot of work, as you say, as everyone can imagine. The last few years have been very, very different, but it's an honor to lead and to live in this space. So you say, what's the life of a superintendent? Daily, what I do is I connect with people like yourself and others, and I support principals. I meet with staff. I listen to challenges. I help facilitate conversations. I try not to always give the answers. I like people to really think through. And so I'm very mathematical in my approach. I like to say, what are all the variables? What are the solutions? Now let's figure out what's the best one, depending on what we're trying to achieve. I find myself visiting schools a lot. I love going to the schools and interacting with our school leaders, our teachers, our students. I find myself meeting with partners. Of course, as a superintendent, you become the person that people reach out to, the elected officials and others. Of course, I interact with my board on a consistent basis. I'm often the person, if there are issues that parents have, and sometimes they just skip every level. It comes to the superintendent, or they send it to the board, and then the board sends it to me. So I'm addressing those type issues too, just trying to make the right decisions for kids and help us get in a better place or get the situation to a better place. But honestly, it's a lot of mental work, not a lot of physical work. Physical in that I have to be up and about and going here and there like I'm here. But I enjoy that. I need the walking. I enjoy doing that. But it's a lot of mental work, a lot of problem solving, if you will, which I love problem solving. I love challenging issues and problems and figuring out, okay, what's the best way to get this done, to maximize the impact, to really make our community proud, make the board say, that's the right decision, and to keep our community moving in the right direction.
So your approach actually with the community is that you provide the information, they provide feedback, and vice versa. In other words, it's a two-way street.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're an educator for real.
I am. I do. I've always believed in getting feedback. Even when I was a classroom teacher, I gave my students surveys about my instruction because I always wanted to improve. I wanted them to tell me honestly what was working for them, what was not working. Tell me. And so as I matriculated into administration, I've always wanted the feedback of teachers, of parents, of students. When I became a principal, and of course, And as a deputy, I was, from DeKalb, surveys.
Right.
I believed in surveys. And clearly in Clayton County, staff will tell you, what does the public think? What do our parents think? What do our students think? I said, I know that you don't always make the decision based upon what one group says, but I need to know what they think so I can figure out how to triangulate the data and make the best decision.
That's the mathematician.
That's that math part of is the mathematician, researcher in me. I want to always make the best decision, realizing, and I try to be very honest, that I may not make the decision that everyone agrees with, but I always promise that I'm going to make the decision that I think is the best decision for our children.
That's leadership.
Yeah.
Well, tell us your top 3 challenges in running a large school district, whatever 3 you want to talk about.
Top 3 challenges. I would say the first one is trying to make sure that every kid gets what he or she needs to be successful.
Wow, that's a big one.
You know that a lot of our kids just come from a lot of different circumstances. Like I shared the other day at a community meeting when we were talking about safety, I said, at the schoolhouse, every kid comes from a different household, and the schools have to manage all of that. So one of the challenges is managing the differences in what they need academically, what they need emotionally, what they need mentally, what they need in so many areas, but to ensure they get what they need. The staff is, of course, supported in providing what the students need, and then ensuring that the students are moving in the right direction. So I would say ensuring that our kids, that is just so important to me, that kids get what they need, not what we...
Kids on all levels.
All levels.
So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. A public school system does that.
That's right.
Ooh.
That's right. And that, honestly, what would be the purpose? What would be the purpose of public school if we weren't helping every student be successful in a democracy?
I'm going to give you my answer. That's the purpose in a new form of segregation. He didn't say that, y'all. I said that. All right, go ahead.
But there's no more noble purpose than to ensure that our children get what they need to be successful. People should always remember this. Children did not choose their zip code. They didn't choose their parents. They didn't choose any of the variables that they were born into. They did not choose that. Therefore, as adults, we have the moral responsibility to ensure that they have everything that they need, so as they mature and they can make choices, and they will make choices, that they can make the best choices and they have options.
Well, Dr. Beasley, I'm not sure about the exact year, but not until the 60s did we start to track graduation rates. And in the 50s, most folks didn't even finish high school anyway, because we went into the armed service or we went into industry. So public schools, educating everybody, is doing a mammoth job, and a great job in this great experiment that we have here. But they're getting a bad rap. And I'm going to say it again because of that right there, and some folk who want to segregate out. So give us one of the challenges that you might have even with violence, because we have violence in all types of schools. It's underreported or not reported at all, but in public schools we hear about it. So give us your challenges right now, knowing what's happening with guns and weapons and that kind of thing.
Well, I told you the first challenge is making sure every kid gets what they need. The second challenge, which is probably one of the major challenges, is ensuring that our schools are safe. That they are safe for all students. And the challenge that we're having, what we're seeing in Clayton County, you should know, we have about 60 plus schools. All of our schools are implementing positive behavior intervention and support. You may know it as PBIS. Our discipline data precipitously has been declining every year, but this year has been unique. In one category, we've seen an increase, and that's with weapons. Our school community is no different from any other school community. So recently you may have seen when I did a YouTube live with the community to inform them of this challenge. I don't know why Clayton was the only one to speak to this issue publicly, but it was unacceptable from my seat and from the seat of the board for this problem to be happening in our schools and our society, and we not get in front of it and address it. So we decided to address it, and we are addressing it. As you well know, what we don't want to do is over-police our children. We don't want to criminalize our children. This year, we've had about 83, as of the other day, maybe 83 weapon situations out of 53,000 students. So we're not talking about most of our students. But all it takes is one weapon in the hands of the wrong person to create a situation that harms many people.
Exactly.
And so we take that very serious. So what we decided to do, Ms. Turner, is at least until the end of the year, no book bags until we can figure out some better strategies for addressing this situation.
Yes.
No book bags. Locker use has been minimized, if not eliminated. And we're working, and that's why we had those community meetings. We're working with our communities because we know what the problem is. They know what the problem is. But I'm not the only one who should be concerned about this. The board is not the only one that should be concerned. The entire community should be concerned about this. As a matter of fact, our elected officials should be concerned about this. But I hadn't heard any of them speak to this issue about weapons in our schools. Everyone should be concerned about this.
Dr. Beasley did not know that we just released today, and it's Georgia Now, on weapons and mass murders and etc. I heard a young man yesterday, Dr. Beasley, on television talking about 3 out of 4 mass killings are done by racists. And I looked at my colleague, Ramonia. I said, well, who was the one? Who was that other one? Stop racially profiling. Stop making this thing political. Folk are dying.
Yeah.
So now, y'all, in full disclosure, you all know where I stand in terms of my moral beliefs and my principles, because values can change. But Dr. Beasley is a man of integrity. But not only that, Dr. Beasley, I understand that you are a Christian.
I am a Christian, and I have been in the ministry since I was a teenager. I have served as a youth pastor. I have served as a pastor, and right now I'm a minister at my church, and I'm one of the elders at my church.
And I just learned that today, Georgia, and that accounts for why we are so drawn to Dr. Beasley, because of his moral standpoint. And I hope you all, this is not a commercial, but I hope you all go on and listen to what we just released today, because we're right in line. Dr. Beasley, when I saw you on television talking about we need clear backpacks and all, we actually get angry when we know that people are just running for office, and giving people what to talk about instead of addressing the real problems and dividing us out. So we commend and salute you for standing up for truth.
I thank you, and I hope our voters need to get informed. First, I'm not, and I'll say this, I am not a politician. I am an appointed educator. So my moral obligation is to the lives of children, period. I am not trying to get reelected. I am not even trying to get reappointed. If the board thinks I'm doing a great job, they will continue to offer me a contract. If they choose to not offer me a contract, then that means that God is ready for me to take on another assignment somewhere else. That is just how I look at it.
So you're doing your station in life, and a lot of people know me through a particular organization, but that's where I am now in life. Also, you know, the Lord has allowed us to get this far, and we're just going to have to say what is truth and speak it, and people can make their own decisions.
Well, truth lives forever.
Is that right?
And I am about things that are going to be living forever.
Yes.
I'm not about things that are going to die out.
Yes.
You know, I think truth lives forever. And so our community, they've heard the truth. They have supported what we have done initially. We are preparing to bring to our board. Our board has been very supportive. Our board has been very engaging of the community. They have, you know, Ms. Goree.
Yes,
you know, Mr. Straker.
Hey,
you know,
Jesse
our board members.
Ms. Jessica
Ms. Goree is clear.
Yes.
And we've been very clear.
Yes.
We want every parent who sends a kid to our school at the beginning of every day, that child should come home at the end of the day.
So we have found a refreshing Clayton County. We're going to get to the third challenge, but there's no such thing as all of that double talk and ambiguous talk. And when people don't talk double, they can talk straight. That's because they are straight. That's what we really do appreciate you, Jesse, and that board with the ability to do.
I think we have a pretty effective governance team, as a matter of fact. We're very honest with each other. We don't always agree, but we're honest with each other.
Yes.
But when we make a decision, because remember, wise people don't always agree, but they don't have to fall out with each other.
That's right.
So we don't always agree, but once we make a decision, there's a give and take in that relationship. Once we make a decision, that is the decision, and we are moving forward.
And I understand y'all spend a lot of time together. You built the trust.
We do, and I interact with them on a daily basis. They hear from me often. I texted Ms. Goree yesterday. I said, it must be nice to take a nap in the middle of the day. You know, one day I'll get there. But the point is, I don't want them to be surprised, as I don't want them to pull any surprises on me. So when things happen, I try to keep them very informed. You know, I just believe in that communication,
That's right.
consistent communication. And when there is, sometimes what I've noticed, when there is a breakdown, it's often because of the communication or the messaging wasn't clear.
Right.
Or it's maybe I could have done something in a bit more timely manner, or they could have done. So we try to fix those things, you know, because we're all growing. We're growing as a team.
We'll never be perfect, but we're growing.
We're growing. And that's exactly what we do. And we want to make our community proud. I want Clayton to be proud of who Clayton is, and Clayton should be. We have, Ms. Turner, we have so many outstanding things going on in our school system and in our county.
Yes.
We should be proud. We don't need to look at anybody else's grass and think that it's better and greener somewhere else, because we got it going on in Clayton County.
Before we get to the third challenge with Dr. Beasley, I want to just interject this. A few years ago, before these amendments and all were passed, Clayton County, as you know, before Dr. Beasley got there, was taken over by the state. I think, well, I won't even name the governor. It was nothing wrong with instruction, the classrooms, or teaching. It was all to do with governance. And we took issue with that because the very folk at the State House who were complaining, they squabble and fight like cats and dogs at the Capitol. But all of a sudden, the board couldn't say anything. Real estate plummeted. That was a setup. Now, this is me saying this, not Dr. Beasley. So the public could lose confidence in its public schools, and instead of going to solutions, they would look for the quick fix. That's to give these schools over to folk who make money in the name of whatever. It's a difference between a public charter school and one that's run by companies and those who want to take the land, because that's what they can do, take your property. So there's nothing wrong with Clayton County School District. Let's just get that out of the way right now. And in fact, most of our school districts, the majority of them are doing a wonderful job. They could do a better job, and all of us can. We have room for improvement. Now we're going to get to that third challenge.
Well, as you shared, and that happened, the issue with the accreditation in Clayton, that was, what, in 2008? So that's over almost 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So we're well past that and beyond that.
See, old folk like me remember stuff.
Yeah, you do. We're so past that. We're in a space now where we are really focused on high performance. So what's our third challenge? I mentioned meeting every kid where they are, getting with them what they need. I mentioned safety, which we're addressing. But I would say the third challenge is to ensure that as a school system, that we are moving every school to high levels of achievement. We have, as you well know, you should know, we have 2 blue ribbon schools now in the district. We have 2 of the nation's top high schools. It's the state's top high schools right in Clayton County. We have the number 1 middle school right in Clayton County. We just got, I can't even mention this one. I better zip that one. I can't mention this great. Right. I'll announce this one later. Some more good news coming out. But we have many, we got 3,000 teachers, 7,000 plus employees. And I want to say our finances, I mean, we've got a strong fund balance. We're using the federal funds for the CARES funds to really support our students. Guess what? This year, historically, we have less than 1,000 kids for pre-K enrollment. This year, we're at 1,500 kids for pre-K enrollment. So that's almost half of kindergarten. So we are almost universal pre-K. We are almost there, and our board fully supports that. See, those are the things that we're doing. I've got families, I think about 20 or so families, who pay an FTE just to come to. They live outside of Clayton County, but they will pay for their children to come to Clayton County. See? Yeah. Because they see what's happening. We're the only, they see the value. We're probably one of the only districts that has both the Cambridge and IB program, International Bar. We are the only district in the state to offer Cambridge and IB.
I hope y'all heard that.
You hope they heard that.
Yes.
We have career pathways, and you heard most recently, Ms. Turner, we're the only district to buy a piece of a mall. Yep. Yes. This old Sears building at South Lake Mall. Ooh-wee. We're building an 8,000, maybe 8,500 seat arena. It will house our new college and career academy. We'll be the only school district south of Atlanta to have a discovery center with Junior Achievement, our own Discovery Center that will serve our kids, plus school district south of Atlanta. We'll have a Boys and Girls Club at that location. And listen to this, Ms. Turner. In March of 2023, we're going to our voters. We want to give Dr. Smith, our Deputy Superintendent over Operations, his shout out. Ronick Joseph over Construction, their shout out. They came, and I didn't have anything to do with this idea. They came to me and said, Dr. Beasley, we think we got a plan. I said, well, what is it? They said, we want to present to the board with your support that in the next SPLOS, March of 2023, we want to do 6 early learning centers to give every kid in pre-K a seat, 4 new elementary schools like the Michelle Obama STEM Elementary School, a new North Clayton High School, enhancement modifications at other facilities, all within a maybe 4 to 7 year period. And that's just some of the projects that I thought, man, this will just change. This is revolutionary for Clayton County.
Yes.
So that's another thing we've got going on.
So you're going to make me move out of the cab.
Well, listen, if you're going to buy in Clayton, you better buy now because the housing values are going up so high. Parents, we get every now and then, Ms. Turner, we get a complaint. Somebody said, my tax is going up. I said, well, that's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem.
Because that's an indicator that your school system is moving in the right direction. Because in anywhere in this country, whenever it's a great school system, guess what goes up?
That's right.
Property values.
That's right.
And taxes.
That's right.
So it's a good problem. But you asked me about the third concern, didn't you? The third concern is really helping every school address all the complexities of educating students to be successful. I don't want any more gaps in our school system. You know, I want more. I want every school to be a blue ribbon school. I want every school to be on the top 50 list. I want every school, every elementary school to offer computer science and coding, and we're almost there. I want every middle school to offer computer science. I want every 8th grader to take, which we're doing, high school algebra for credit in the 8th grade. I want every 9th grader, which we're doing, to take advanced placement courses. Every 10th grader, every 11th grader, every 12th grader. I would imagine this year, because we've been doing this for several years now, it's called our Advanced Learning for All initiative, where we expect every 9th grader to take advanced placement and a career pathway. I would imagine this year, I hadn't gotten the data yet, we've got more kids who have earned advanced placement graduating this year than we've ever had in the history of the school system. But we know that we're doing the right thing because we looked at our post-secondary data. Our students who go to the technical colleges in Georgia.
I was about to ask about that. Yes.
And the students who go to the non-technical schools.
Yes.
The percentage of them who need remediation has dropped precipitously.
And part of that's because they're interested now.
That's it.
They're interested in a curriculum that works.
They are interested.
And that works for Georgia.
And we've gone from 26% of our graduates qualifying for Hope Scholarship to 36%. And I'm sure this year we'll go even higher for this graduating class.
All right.
So those are the things that we're going on. But again, the concern is I don't want any gaps. I want every school. We know discipline's improving, attendance is improving, academics is improving. But right now I have the staff profiling who are those kids who brought weapons. I'm not profiling them because they've already done what they've done. I'm looking at the data, working with Georgia State to even engage in some research so we can start being more proactive, get to those kids, provide support and services to them and their families, even before they decide to make a silly decision like bringing a weapon. So that's the type of, that's the passion and the work that we're doing in Clayton County right now. I mean, every family, I want every kid to be successful. You know, we have one of the most robust community engagement opportunities. Our board meetings are online. You know, I'm online with the superintendent events. I'll do questions online. If they can ask me a tough question, I am not so prideful to say I don't know the answer. I'll get back with you. I don't have a problem with that. But if I can respond, I can respond. You know, sometimes people are afraid. They don't want to be put in a corner.
Or they want to work in a silo.
Ask me the tough question.
Yeah.
It's okay. That makes me a better leader, a better superintendent, so we can have a better school district. It's okay to ask me tough questions. I am good with that. Tell me something I don't want to hear. That's okay, because I can take what I don't want to hear, figure out what I need to hear, and figure out what the solution is that's going to make our community, our school system, a better place, a better option for everyone.
That's right.
For everyone. So,
because your schools are almost like community schools anyway.
well, you know, Clayton County is, to me, it's in the metro area, but it has such a small town feel to me.
It does.
It has such a small town, and I love it.
Yes.
I mean, every city has so many family events and adult events, and it's just always, even today, I'm missing an event
Very
to open
engaging.
up the new International Water Park because I'm here with you. They're doing the opening this summer. It's been
They are, huh?
They are, and they've already. I mean, it's just such a family-oriented, family-friendly environment. And I'll tell you this: people say, "Well, do you feel safe?" I have been in Clayton County for 6 years. I have gone to events in the day, in the evening, in the parks. I have never felt unsafe.
Well, when my colleague Monia moved back, she won't move anywhere else except Clayton County, and she loves it, and she has me looking at it too. Y'all hear that in the cab? All right. Anyway, I love the cab, but anyway. So, Doctor, tell us about superintendent trainings. If you could add something to the way that we orientate and or train our superintendents, what would it be?
I would suggest that I do a solution circle with Cognia. I have a colleague who used to be a superintendent in the metro area. He now works with Cognia, and he does. They have this process called solution circle, where you, as a superintendent, you have a problem. You share it with a group of superintendents, and they help you think through all of the options. They ask questions. They may help you to think about variables that you hadn't considered, etc. I think sometimes superintendents don't have that experience enough. You know, theory and textbooks and writing papers and dissertations, that's one thing. But which textbook do you think I read when I went to school to earn my doctorate told me that I would be dealing with a pandemic? Which textbook?
Hello.
Not one textbook told me that.
Right.
Not one. No one told me that in the year 2020, you would have to make a decision to close schools in about 2 days, and schools would not open up for face-to-face until after a year and a half. No one told me that. No one told me, what are you going to do to ensure throughout that pandemic that students get high levels of instruction? No one asked me, what are you going to do to ensure that families still can get breakfast and lunch every day while they're at home learning using a device? How are you going to ensure that every kid has a device and internet if the family doesn't have internet? See,
problem solving, real leadership.
There you go. Stepping up, and being honest about what we're dealing with here. I don't know why sometimes we just want to. I guess it's pride.
Some of it's pride.
Some of it's pride, and some of it is just people don't want to expose themselves. But, you know, I'm good. I tell folks I'm good with who I am.
Yes.
And if I don't know something, I will let you know I don't know. And I'm going to surround myself with people who are smarter than me.
And you are in your calling until the Lord gets ready to take
That's
you to the
right.
next
I am
one.
good. Yeah.
That's oh my God.
I'm good
And
with
so
that.
these are people we call missionaries. You're a missionary, not a mercenary, not just putting out a paper and moving around trying to get this city, that city. You know, I have a lot of ministers in my family, and some of them, when they came out of seminary, had a nerve. Well, I want a church to start off with at least 500. What? I don't want to preach in Florida, it's too hot. I don't want to preach in the Northeast because it's too cold. Well, where do you want to serve the Lord? So you are in so you are in your calling, you know, you're like a missionary instead of a mercenary. That makes a big difference.
Yeah, and sometimes, you feel that's how you feel. I mean, it's like you're here to serve a community. You're a servant leader. You have a gift, you have a talent, and it's my gifts and talent, they were given to me to benefit other people, right?
Yes.
To lift other people, to lift children. And my calling and my gifting is to help kids learn. I am gifted at helping kids learn. I'm gifted at leadership. I'm gifted at organizing systems and connecting systems and processes to make things more efficient, more effective. And I love helping a community feel good about who they are and its children and I'm good with, I'm good with who we are.
Tell us the role that homes, we're going anywhere from a child that's in a foster home, a grandparent home, a one-parent home, a two-parent home, a household making over $100,000, what have you. Tell us the role and the significance of what the parent and that parent right there in their home could do to help their child succeed.
That's a great question. First, let me say, it doesn't matter if you're a foster parent, if you are the birth parents, if you are a grandma, granddad that has been thrown into a situation that you didn't expect and you got to step up like my grandmother did and take care of those grandchildren, or your aunts and uncles or neighbors. It doesn't matter who you are. I fundamentally and firmly believe that whenever children are put into your space, they are assigned to you because there's something in you that they need. And only you can give that to them. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, what we've got to do is recognize it's not in the material things. Those things are important. Don't get me wrong. You got to make sure kids have, clean clothes and shoes and things of that nature. But that's not the end all. But that's not the end all.
Mm-hmm. Character matters.
What matters is how you behave in front of them, how you speak with them, how you interact with them, how you encourage them, how you, even when they seem to step out of line, how you pull them back in line in love in a way that you remember that you made mistakes too.
Yes.
So you don't want anybody being too hard and heavy with you when you mess up. Mm-hmm. So learn how to correct people in love and be mindful of your own self and that you're human too and that you can make mistakes even today. But they need that support. They need that safety environment, that safe environment where they know that the people love them and that they can be honest and they can share when things are bothering them, or if they're having a situation at school that is really getting the best of them. They got to have parents, a household, relatives, family members, extended family members that they can talk about, that will work with them, advocate for them. But creating those safe spaces, just full of love. That's what we need to see. Spaces where kids feel loved, they feel supported, and they feel affirmed. They feel affirmed because when they go to school and they go outside of the home, they're not looking for love. They know they already got love.
Thank you.
They already got love. Mm-hmm. So they can focus on their purpose because they already got love.
Right there at the house. Right.
And remember this, this is the springtime. We're all planting things in our yard. There are just certain environments that things grow in, and there are certain environments that things will not grow in.
Right.
We as humans, we as people of faith, we have to create the environments that children can grow and thrive in. Mm-hmm. And cold environments, absent of love, absent of respect, absent of safety and security, those are environments that harm children. Mm-hmm. They harm children. We have to create those warm, caring environments. It doesn't mean that children get everything they want. As much as we love the sunshine, we don't want sunshine 24 hours a day.
Right.
We need sunshine for half of the day, and we need the evening time for half of the day so the earth can keep a balance.
And sometimes we need rain.
And we need rain.
That's right.
The point is, create a healthy environment, a balanced environment, that they can grow, that they can thrive. Mm-hmm. What do they need of us? They need the family, the relatives, the grandma and dad and mom to keep a good rapport with the school, with the principal, with the teacher. Always keep that good relationship. You're not going to always agree with the principal or the teacher, but you can still have a good relationship. Why? Because they are helping you.
Right.
They are helping you. Whether you realize it or not, they are helping you produce an adult who is responsible, who is educated, who can be productive, and who hopefully will get off of your payroll and get on their own payroll.
It might reach back and help take care of you.
Take care of you. Exactly. And so it's a partnership. And I tell people, we're on this journey together.
That's right.
And I strongly tell parents, and even sometimes I'll have to call a parent in. If I see them going back and forth with the school, I may intervene and call that parent in and say, Mom, Dad, that is not healthy. You going back and forth like that with the school,
right? That's not
going to help.
Because children pick that up.
And that's not going to help the child. It's not going to help you. You got many years ago working with these educators.
That's right.
So let's figure out a way to talk about the problems, discuss solutions. Let's disagree, but let's not be disagreeable.
Now, you know, my mother was born in 1914, and she was 42 when she had me. And because this is going to sound antiquated, she taught me how to make biscuits. Oh, I didn't want to learn. But she taught me the difference between self-rising flour and wide rolls and that flour that didn't. Which you could put soda in a biscuit, or you can put buttermilk. She was teaching me chemistry. She didn't know it. The difference between an electric stove and a gas stove. Oh, yeah. And the discipline, and my reward happened to be those biscuits. The difference in margarine and butter. So there's something all of us can teach our children, even on down to how to mow a lawn, parts of a lawnmower. Did I say mow the lawn? Yeah, I did. And that's physical activity. Don't put kerosene in there, put gasoline in there. But I'm just saying that's something all of us can teach our children where we are, and they'll pick up and then they will learn. They're just waiting for us as adults to really lead the way. Now, I want you to talk a little bit about, a lot of eyes gloss over when we talk about the CARES Act money. What are some of the things that you are doing with the CARES Act money that you were not able to do before the CARES Act money?
The CARES Act money, just for the benefit of all, would be the funds that the federal government has given us throughout this pandemic. So we have 3 allocations. The first allocation in Clayton County was about $17 million. We primarily used that money to purchase our devices. And we wanted to ensure that was at the beginning of the pandemic. We wanted to ensure, and we put our order in first with many of the school districts coming behind us, so we were able to get all of our devices by August of that school year. So we used our first allocation of about $17 million to purchase devices. We're grateful that we have a foundation in Clayton County. They stepped up to the plate, United Way and some others. They helped us provide Wi-Fi access to cards to families who needed Wi-Fi. So they had devices, they had Wi-Fi. We were able to get everybody connected to quality instruction. Our second allocation of CARES Act funds, I believe it was about $70 million. What we did with that, we wanted to continue to pay our school nutrition workers, so we didn't lay anyone off. So we figured out a way, and they allowed us to offset the local budget using the CARES Act fund, so we could ensure that all bus drivers continue to be paid, all school nutrition workers were continued to be paid. We were able to offset utility costs. We are always providing summer learning opportunities, extended learning opportunities to our students. We provided, as you may have heard, bonuses. Yes. And we work with so everybody will know, we work with the Georgia Department of Education. They had to approve all of the amounts that we said that we would pay. They had to be reasonable, and that's exactly what we did. So we were able to do that in our school system. We have been able to purchase additional resources for literacy and numeracy, mathematics, to ensure that our kids, since they have devices, we wanted them to have more options as they were using their devices, more online resources. So tutor.com, they have access to a tutor 24 hours a day. They don't have to be at school. So all of these support resources, we have been using our CARES funds. That was the second allocation. The third allocation, which is about $170 million, and remember, these are reimbursement funds, so we have to spend in order to request reimbursement. Right. So we have to manage our local money and this money, but we do pretty good in Clayton County managing money, you know, being a math person. And I got a great person over federal programs. I've got a great CFO. We do pretty good managing money. So the third allocation, $170 million, more resources. We are looking at our instructional resources, and so we have identified some gaps that existed. And so we are closing those gaps with those instructional resources using this third allocation of CARES funds. I mentioned early learning, so we are ensuring that every family who has a pre-K eligible child, no more waiting lists in Clayton County. Bring that child to pre-K. And we're making sure we fund those classrooms and the resources that those classrooms need. We are, again, supporting as necessary any pay gaps that may exist. Fortunately, we've been able to see an increase in our property values, which gives us an increase in our local collections in Clayton County. We are working to ensure that using those funds, that we continue to provide opportunities, and this is key. People talk about learning loss. I tell them it wasn't a loss of learning, they had a loss of learning opportunities.
Right.
They lost the amount of time.
Yes.
So we're trying to find more time and opportunities.
Yes.
And pay teachers to give kids more opportunities to learn, whether it be before school, after school, during the school day, weekends, etc. So more of those activities. And we're looking at, of course, I mentioned the early learning centers that we're going to open. At some point, each of those early learning centers will have a boys and girls club. So we have after school activities at all of our elementary school programs, middle schools, as well. Of course, high school kids have many activities that they can participate in, but I think there need to be more activities after school. So we're working to partner with the various service providers. Board chair, and I'll give Ms. Gorey a pitch. She always say, that was my idea to partner with the Parks and Recreation. So Ms. Gorey, I'm giving you a shout out, Ms. Gorey, to ensure that when kids are in the summertime, they're at the Parks and Recreation, then we have teachers there giving them some academic time as well. So that we're working on doing that. So just a variety of things to ensure that we really focus on learning and recovery of opportunities for learning.
Right. And in fact, I am, as we speak, trying to get to see the new chancellor of the New York City schools.
Okay.
I think it's Chancellor Banks, because he's an attorney first and then he's an educator, but he happened to have opened up 50 schools just for at-risk boys.
That's good.
And so we're going to be bringing some of those models back to Georgia because we got to talk more together, y'all. And Dr. Beasley, you're already doing some of this stuff already in your schools. And
we're so excited. Even our Perry Academy, we have, I failed to mention, shame on the superintendent. We're opening
Put your hand out. Put your hand out.
I'll put it out.
We don't believe in corporal punishment.
That's right.
We don't believe in abusing kids.
That's right.
They used a switch with me, and I'm glad they did. But put your hand out. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, we're opening up our virtual learning academy this fall. So it will serve. We would plan for about, I guess, 1,200. We only had about 800 to apply for it, but they'll get all of their experience 3rd grade through 12th grade in the virtual learning academy. Everybody not at the virtual learning academy will be face to face, but if you want virtual learning, you have to go to the academy, because we don't want teachers feeling like they have to do both, because that's a bit challenging for teachers.
It is, and a lot of people don't understand that. I hope everybody heard that.
Yeah, that's too challenging.
Look, if you are a person that's elected, I'm talking to elected officials right now. I see so many people getting out, endorsing this one, endorsing that one. Haven't talked to any of the educators in depth. But we want you to look at Dr. Beasley. Dr. Beasley didn't ask me to say any of this. He didn't even know I was going to say it. But we want you to look at what Clayton County is doing. It's a wonderful model. Dr. Beasley, I got 2 more things. I want you to speak specifically to groups of employees. And I want you to start with our bus drivers and then our paraprofessionals.
I cannot overstate how important our employees are to having school every day, whether it's face-to-face or virtual. And so I'm going to look at the camera and say this to our bus drivers. Our bus drivers, they are often the first people that our children see every day. We appreciate our bus drivers. They have to manage children on the bus while they're yet trying to keep them safe and drive the bus at the same time. They are oftentimes, they are frontline workers. Their lives are at risk every day. Our bus drivers are so critical. Honestly, if our bus drivers did not do what they do, we could not have school. So to all of our bus drivers, we salute you, we thank you, we appreciate you, because we know we could not have school without our bus drivers. Our monitors on the buses, they help monitor, not in every bus, but we have certain buses that have monitors. They help keep a safe environment on our school buses so our bus drivers can pay attention to the road and drive and keep our children safe. And Ms. Turner, people don't realize
Rush hour traffic too.
every day as a superintendent, I have a concern because it happens around the nation.
Right.
That something could happen to any of our children, our bus drivers. We've had some situations, but we're so blessed. Since I have been superintendent, not that I'm aware of, we've not had anyone lose their life because of a bus accident. And we've had some buses, the bus driver had to pull over because the bus under the hood caught on fire and they had to get the bus, evacuated. But we've been so blessed. And so nothing is promised to us. A whole year of no accidents or a whole year of no one getting hurt is not promised to us. So I don't take it, and we don't take it as a community for granted when we can say thank you that we made it through a day, a week, a month, or a school year with everybody being okay, everybody being safe. And we know our bus drivers do a noble job of ensuring that those buses are safe. They pick kids up in safe locations. They drop them off in a safe location, and that as they transport them, that those kids are safe. Our monitors, our paraprofessionals. What can I say? They add so much value to what happens in the classroom. Many times, if you walk in our classes, you see our paraprofessionals working, you can't tell the difference between the teacher and the paraprofessional.
That's right.
As a matter of fact, we have several opportunities, Ms. Turner, where we're supporting our paraprofessionals to earn their teaching degrees. Good. They are just that good in Clayton County. We know all of them don't want to be the teacher of record, right. But for those who want to be teachers, we are working with Clayton State University. We are now working with Clark Atlanta University to develop another program just for paras, because we want them to know how much we value them.
So you don't have to go out of the state, do you?
No,
to train folks. You don't have to go out of the state to train folks.
And don't forget, Clayton County, we have a mini university over there. We offer the TAP program. We train our teachers, those who are non-traditional, that need certification, in our teacher alternative prep program. We train them, they earn their certification, and we offer 10 endorsements in our professional learning department, from gifted, reading, K-5 math, science. We have a mini university. I've got to give Dr. Gloria Duncan a shout out there. She runs a mini university in that professional learning department. I didn't even mention the leadership development that we're doing, and we're even right now, we have for teachers and others who want to be assistant principals, we have a leadership development program. For assistant principals who want to be principals, we have a leadership development program.
Growing your own.
And we have an executive leadership program that I lead. They help me plan it for those who are principals who want to be central office support. So we want them to know how to provide support to schools in the right way. We all exist. We often say if you're not teaching, then you exist to help support those who are teaching.
And in this way, districts are not caught with their pants down. They have grown their own and nurtured their own and treated their own the right way.
But you told me to talk to the different groups. So paras, so important. So thank you, paras, and contact HR if you want to learn more about those programs, or pay attention to your emails, because something will be coming out very shortly. I know many of you did a survey recently in Clayton County, so we could get that information as we're working on this program with Clark Atlanta University. But we have so many groups, which
I put counselors, registrars kind of together with teachers and media specialists.
I'll talk about student support services. That includes our counselors, our registrars, our social workers, our nurses. Oh, God,
don't forget the nurses.
The only
we need more nurses.
we do. The only clinic, the only vaccination clinic by a school system in the state, in Clayton County.
I'll say that again.
I have this, I will say it again. The only vaccination clinic in a school system in Clayton County. I didn't have to go anywhere to get my vaccinations, but to Clayton County Public Schools. I got my booster the other day, a few weeks ago, the additional booster in Clayton County Public Schools. And I mean, just top notch. They make me feel better, and they just, the nurses, so counselors, nurses, student support, psychologists, behavior specialists. Oh, I'm going to miss somebody. Social workers, did I mention them? All of these support, student engagement specialists. Custodians. I'm going to come back to operations. Okay. I'm doing student support right now.
Okay, all right.
All of these student support people, they wrap themselves around every child in our schools through our circle of support, through our student support division. That's led by Dr. Nunez. Dr. Nunez is a Latina. She's the only Latina that I know at the executive level, deputy superintendent in this state. I'm sorry, make sure my English is correct. Does a phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. Implemented, designed with her team, the circle of support. The International Center, our ESOL support, students with special needs. We call it Department of Exceptional Students, DES in our district. All of these, our lead teachers of special ed. This is just one division now. Student support services. And all that's why our data is improving with discipline. We have partners at every school that can provide tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 support.
To understand the demographics, the families and all.
And not only do they provide support to the students, they will provide support to the whole family in our school system. So student support services, and forgive me if I omitted any title, that was not my intention, but every single one of you have been critical to ensuring that our students are okay and they're well, that they're doing good. Even as we implement social emotional learning and support throughout our district, every day in every classroom in Clayton County. So thank you. Now I'm going to go over to our maintenance and operations, because the bus drivers, school nutrition workers, I mentioned the bus drivers, so thank you bus drivers, transportation, more than just bus drivers, but bus drivers, clearly the majority of them.
Oh, yeah.
School nutrition. What school district do you think is going to have school if we can't feed the children?
Right.
They, not only do they feed the children, they make sure that the food is what the children want to eat. They find ways, even we have a chef on staff to help us figure out exactly how to make the food taste the way kids want it to be and be healthy at the same time.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
Right in Clayton County. Our school nutrition, Miss Hamilton, her and her team, they do surveys. They do taste testing with student groups and parents and others, just to make sure, that kids have a good experience. And you all know how important it is when you go in the lunchroom.
Yes.
How great that experience is. Of course, our operations department also includes our maintenance department, our custodians, but not just our custodians who keep our schools clean. Right now, and they are being overtaxed, and I want to thank our custodians who are hanging in here with us. We have quite a few vacancies.
Okay.
We've got to get more people interested in that job, so we're looking at what we need to do to possibly combine some roles, so people can feel like they can make a great salary, do some work, but do different things.
Right.
So we're looking at some options there.
Right. So important.
So important. But the custodians, our maintenance workers who actually, when the AC breaks down, and on any given day with all the schools we have, somebody's AC could go out. They got to run out there and figure out how to support and get it back on, so those kids, and so I don't get a bunch of emails from parents saying, get that air fixed, which we don't mind, but
you have to be on top of it.
We got to be on top of things. And so they do that. Operations, athletics folk, making sure kids have extracurricular activities, athletics, that we're following the Georgia High School Association guidelines.
Which we want more of.
More of.
Oh, yes.
More.
Yes.
You name it. Transportation, the maintenance department, athletics, school nutrition, our partners in engagement and governmental relations, our facilities. You know how important facilities are.
Yeah.
I mentioned Ronick Joseph and his team. Christy, and she was just promoted to be a director. He was promoted to be chief. You know, I've worked in several districts.
Yes.
Alabama, Georgia, and Texas.
Okay.
Clayton has some of the best facilities that I've ever seen in any of the districts that I've worked in.
Oh, wonderful.
I want you all to know that.
Yes.
And the plan that I described earlier in our conversation is just going to make it even better.
Mm-hmm.
But the school facilities are phenomenal. Mm-hmm. And I have to give Clayton a shout out for what facilities it has and what it expects its children attend. I know, recently in the media that some other districts have had some challenges. We in Clayton County, our maintenance team and school principals, they work very closely together. Mm-hmm. We are enhancing all our athletic fields and programs starting this summer. So everybody's getting an enhancement. So expect to see new fields, baseball courts, baseball fields, tennis courts, tracks. All of that is happening starting this summer. This is what's happening in Clayton County.
Dr. Beasley, let me say this about what you go through and other superintendents. If you all were running any other industry other than all these big public school districts, your salaries would be into the millions, actually. You are handling precious cargo. We want Georgia to know that precious commodity, they happen not to be little pawns and widgets. These are lives. Mm-hmm. And we can't put a price on it. But if we paid everybody the right salaries and we recruited the best, like educators, this is an educator, and let our guards, our egos go, we're going to ask you to do that this year. We're going to ask you to work with your public school districts, not just to be understood, but first to understand. And then the school districts want to work with you because the school districts belong to all of us. Don't be bamboozled by people, and I'm going to use this word choice. All of us have choices except on some ballots. Well, he didn't say that, I did. But anyway, don't be bamboozled by all this newfangled stuff that's designed to strip your school districts of the resources that they need. Don't just rely totally on the local tax dollars to do everything or the state tax dollars. There are things that we can do right there in our community to enhance our schools. And on certain parts of town, in every city, there are parents and people who understand that. We've never just given a full endorsement to a superintendent, but we just love Dr. Beasley. We watch him all the time in our teacher organization, etc. We love his leadership and what he's doing. He's a young man, and we're going to keep him young, y'all. We're not going to work him to death, right, community? So, Dr. Beasley, with that said, we're going to wrap up, and I'm going to let you say anything that you want to say to Clayton and to Georgia and to the whole country, if you wish.
Well, first, Ms. Turner, let me thank you for what you do. You know, I always have had a good relationship with the various teacher organizations because I've always been a part of those organizations. And I know that voice is so important. We're in this thing together when it comes to our children. So I want to thank you for what you do. You mentioned, to the community not to be bamboozled by people who think that public schools are not doing what they what they should be doing. They are doing better than
that's right.
Than what, based on how they were initially designed. We have the highest grad rate in our nation now than we've ever had.
Exactly.
And we've got more kids, and so it's uninformed people, misinformed people, and sometimes ingenuous people will say those things because they have another agenda. But if non-public entities and organizations actually wanted to educate our children, they would have been doing it. But they hadn't been.
Yes.
So I don't listen to that.
Yes.
And I'm grateful for the K-12 public education that I got that helped me to be a successful educator. And most of the people that I know that are successful came out of a public school.
There's no such thing as a failing school.
Not
no
one.
Such thing.
Not one. There are challenges.
Right.
But I don't know of an organization or a community that doesn't have challenges.
Right.
If they're honest with themselves.
Right.
If they're honest with themselves. I will say this. We need the support of every family. We need the support of every parent. We need the support of every organization. We need the support. This is one of the hardest jobs that exist. When I say job, I mean being an educator, not just my role as a superintendent, but being a teacher, a principal, a custodian, a bus driver. It's hard. Why? Because we're dealing with people.
And you have your own families.
And we do. And our own families are not perfect, and we got to deal with that too, right?
That's right.
But that's okay, because what I'm called to, I get grace to deal with.
Ooh.
Right?
Yes.
And I will say to all of you, I know this is going around the state, but we love our children in Clayton County. Those 53,000 children are just like my very own children. No, I can't feed them all out of my budget, but I can make sure in my role that every one of them eats every day.
Yes.
I can ensure that if they need something, a uniform, personal items, we have resources. If the family needs food, we can do that. Whatever they need in order to be successful, that's what we're about. We want them to learn at high levels. In our school system, every kid is accelerated. Let me say that again. In Clayton County, every kid is accelerated. It doesn't matter what zip code you come from. I don't care what the color of your skin is. Every kid is accelerated in Clayton County. You don't have a board or a superintendent or an administration who thinks that it's acceptable for some kids to get and some kids not to get. Right. That is unacceptable. As a matter of fact, that is immoral.
That's right.
And I'll not have a part of that.
All right.
In Clayton County, we love our children. We're not perfect, but I grant you this. We are improving every day, every week, every month, and every year. Check us out. You will see our kids go to some of the best colleges and universities, technical schools in this state. They're entrepreneurs, they're innovators, they are doing awesome things. I just recently went to a student graduation. She graduated from the college I graduated from, and I told her, when you graduate, I hadn't been to that school in 30 years, I will come to your graduation. I went to the University of Montevallo to watch her walk across the stage and earn her degree.
Oh, wow.
From the school that I graduated from 30-something years ago.
Wonderful. Our
kids are doing it in Clayton County, and I want you to know, thank you for helping us get the word out. I want to thank our board. I got to give a shout out to my 9 bosses, Ms. Gorey, the chair. And Ms. Gorey reminds folk that she was one who voted for me to be superintendent. So I have to remind her of that. Remind her, Mr. Straker, vice chair. We have 9 board members, and they are all supportive of us moving this school system in the right direction. I have to give a shout out to our cabinet, core and expanded cabinet, to all of our principals. But I'm going to close with this. To our 3,000 teachers who enter that classroom every day on the front lines, interacting with our children, with our parents, giving their very best. And did you know most of the teachers in Clayton have master's degrees and higher? Yes. And we pay them on top of their salaries for all the other endorsements that they're getting too. I'm just, hint, come on to Clayton County.
Yes.
Not many positions will be available. And I pay $3,000 on top of the base salary if you're special ed certified and you're teaching special ed. So if you come to Clayton County, you can make a pretty nice salary. My point is this. We're moving towards high performance. Be patient with us. Thank you for accepting me as the leader, as the superintendent. Thank you to the board for offering me and giving me this opportunity to serve and fulfill a passion, a calling that I have on my life to lift children and to lift our community. To our elected officials in Clayton County, all of them have been very supportive of the work that we're doing. It's not perfect, but my promise and my commitment is this. It will always improve. And if you look at any of our data, all of our data suggests that we're improving in every area. When we get to 100%, that's when we know our work is done.
Yes.
Until then, more work to do. More work to do.
And with that said, we want to thank you, Dr. Beasley. You could have been somewhere else today, but you chose to be with us and to share with us. And thank you, Georgia, for listening to Dr. Morcease Beasley, Superintendent of Clayton County. Thank you.